Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is Tuesday, October 6, 2020. So let's just take a bigger look back at the indexes again. So, we had our little COVID drop, right? We had our little ramp up, and now we've had, if you can look back at the chart, we had a pullback that basically went from June 8th, and then 4 days later it bottomed, right? So this one's been a little bit bigger. This one started on September 2nd, and if this is the bottom, it didn't bottom until September 24th, right? So there's some places that we can look at, so let's look at it. So if you can see where I've dotted out these lines, all right, I got a dotted line at 31.92 half, I got one at 32.30. So this is really the area of support that I'm looking at, and if you glance over at this node, I know it's pretty sloppy, but you can see how there's a pretty big valley that's under 31.92 half, and then you've got a ramp up, and you've got another little valley that the top of the valley is really right around 32.12, and then you got another a lot of trading volume that goes off all the way up to about 33.86, right? And then you've got almost nothing above 3400, let's say. So let's zoom into the end of this chart here. And then, so really what I'm looking at is these 5 trading days down here are last week. I'll show you a little bit easier to see on another chart in a second. Actually, these are the week before last. These 5 trading days before this candle were the previous week, right? So now we're above both of these weeks, right? Last week and the previous week. After falling down, if you were to just draw downtrends, you got one on the connecting the bottoms, one connecting at the tops. Technically you broke out, but I'm really watching this 34.20 to 34.30 area, and I didn't really think we'd see it this week, right? Earnings season starts off, if we look at the calendar, earnings season starts off on the 13th, Tuesday 13th, before the bell, the banks start reporting. The 12th is Columbus Day. The markets are open, but it's a bank holiday. So normally this is a day with extremely light volume and little movement. We'll see, that's the usual pattern. And then because everyone knows that and they know they have to go to work really hard starting on the 13th for at least 3.5 to 5 weeks, a lot of traders are probably going to be taking off Fridays, right? Get a 4-day weekend ahead of the grind that's going to be ahead, that is earnings season. So when I was reviewing the weekend, right, as we're coming in, we have FOMC minutes tomorrow at 2, but really, what can the Fed tell us that they haven't already told us? They're going to print money until we have inflation, and they have to clone people to get more employees. So as we get to this and we go forward in time, I really thought that we'd get stuck range bound this week. So the limits I was looking for were really the top of this node here. That's, we'll just call it for rounding's sake, 3,400, but it's really, 10 to 15 points under that. And then, we could get stuck, above 33.12 to 3,400 or below 33.12 down to almost 31.92. Those were the levels I was watching. I didn't think we'd spend a whole lot of time in no man's land here in this little valley that was, basically between 32.8875 and 33.12. The market can fill in this area, but it's had many opportunities, and we just keep gapping above and below that level basically. So as we come up here now, the question is, you have to think that all these candles are traders with charts and with positions on. They got money and positions on. They can be long, they can be short, and I made the comment when we were right around it here a few days afterwards that this has the possibility of being a generational top, this 35.87, and it still does, to be honest with you. Until you clear basically 3,500, it's going to be difficult to get up in that area of the chart. So with earnings season starting next week, I thought we'd stay down. So Looks like we're going to test potentially above 3,400. That's why I titled this video 3,400 support or resistance. So we get above here, right? You've got nothing but anyone who's short, right? There's not too many sessions. I would think that anyone that was short in these few days going up to this excess high really got smoked. So you got 1 day, 2 days of real shorts that are probably left in here. I don't think there's too many holding the bag short from the run up. So there's not too many shorts there that are going to want their money back as it comes up, right? So I don't think that's the case. So what's going to happen is we're either going to squeeze all the people that we're trying to get short in these last 3 weeks, right? And we're going to start, just making progress, and 3,400 is going to be going to remain support, or we're going to, look above this area of the chart and start, coming back down, hitting 3312, and possibly, that not even holding if we look back. So this is a little bit more important of an area than just a big round number on the chart, this 3,400 in my opinion. So looking at this chart, over here on the right side, you've got 1 year daily candles, and over here you've got 1 year weekly candles. The difference between the top and the bottom is the bottom of this candle has the extended, or the bottom to have extended turned on, right? So this is weekly. So this is what I was talking about. You have, 4 weeks down basically, and then 2 weeks ago we left these traders down here. Now we're leaving these traders down here. So as we start getting up, right, there's an opportunity to go ahead and squeeze, even though there's real no news, because you're just trading against other traders. So looking really at today, and with all that said, where we could go, we got 34.72 at the high and 33.14 at the low. So that 33.14 will be the 33.12 area we're just referring to and whatnot. I don't think we're going to see that big of levels. So I'm really watching 34.1375, then 34.36 quarter, and I'm expecting now 34.6475 to be solid support. So looking back at all the indexes, right, the Russell above yesterday's range, the ES has tested above it, and is barely back underneath of it now. The Dow is above yesterday's range. So we're printing these excess highs coming up here. The NASDAQ's a little bit of a laggard, and we got these blue boxes that are single prints from yesterday. We can look at as support and resistance. And to be honest with you, I've got another level for the NASDAQ today that's right here at 11,452.75, right? You can see how we've been flirting above and below that level during the night. But above there, I'm much more bullish on all the indexes. Below there, I'm not convinced that that this up move is gonna really hold. So we'll see if that supplies any ampleness to the day with information. So I'm going to be, we'll review some of these other charts real quick. So look at the NASDAQ. I had this blue box that I drew on here and some of these levels as we were, following to see this is where I thought that we should bottom in. You can see we went below it, right? It's just a guess. We went below it. We'll come back up. So I've updated these levels now. So more critical levels are 10,940 on the bottom side, 11,185 on the top side. You can see that last week we held it twice basically on the retest, and now above 11,580 is going to be a little bit more critical, I think. And then really there's not a lot of resistance between there and almost 12,000, 11,927, and you got 11,727 there in the middle. But we'll see what happens if we end up flopping back down. So getting back below 11,144 half anytime in the near future, like later this week, early next week once earnings starts, right, that's going to open the floodgates to the downside. Above this orange box, really we're just chopping in the ranges. So looking at, let's look at the Dow. We haven't looked at that with you guys for a while for me. So the Dow is really holding up technically now. It come down here, and this is the area I was looking for it to really find some support in. It took it a long time. It dipped below some key levels, but it's back above them now. That's 27,682, 27,921. We're hitting up here at 28,150. So again, we'll see if this 28,150, this would be equivalent to the 3,400 for the ES, if it holds above this level or not, right? But nice overnight, hold that 27,921. Looking at the Russell real quick. Getting back up above 1582.30 is key, right? So I'm going to drag this down a little bit so we can see some of the levels above. But this is really the level that I'm looking for support. It gets pretty sloppy. There's some substantial resistance above here that it can churn through fairly quickly, but it's got to churn through it. So from basically you got 1600 plus or minus 2, you've got 1612 plus or minus 2.5, and then you got 1623.5. That above there, there's really nothing on the charts, and I don't think that's all happening today, by the way. 1677 is basically what I'm looking for above, right? So you got some churn. So I would expect us not to break out of this resistance this week, but we could end up holding above this level. This would be the 3,400 level for the equivalent to the ES. This is going to be that 1582.30. So pay attention to that. So looking back at all the indexes, just putting a little bit of a wrap on this segment, really today could go either way, right? These bigger levels are going to end up being support and maybe not push that much of a bear squeeze up, right? There's bears trapped below us, but there's some bears above us that, as it gets closer to them, they're going to want their, to take their profits while they still can. I don't think there's that many trapped up above with profits, to be honest with you. So it's really what the how nervous the bears are below us and how likelihood, the FOMO traders are to take this up. Like I said, you got FOMC tomorrow, which I don't think is going to be a big deal this week. You got probably a holiday-like session Friday and Monday, and earnings season starts Tuesday. I would expect 3,400, to be honest with you, not to hold above and us to start going back and filling it back in at least on to 33.12. But with that said, I'm going to watch. Closing above 1375 today is going to really change things dramatically, I think. And we'll watch those other levels that I've mentioned for the Dow, the Russell, the NASDAQ, and we'll see how they do today. But I think today is going to be a little bit of a tell. It's hard to believe that we're going to, do anything substantial. Maybe if we get some stimulus, maybe that's what it's all about. We'll find out. You guys